Good evening, everybody. And I mean that literally, as it is currently 9:11. Okay, that's ironic. 9:11 p.m. on Sunday night, February the 9th, one day before my birthday. But I digress. Hello, everybody. No, I'm just a simple man. My name is Noah Foster, and welcome once again to another episode of 205 Live Matters. As the Cruiserweights continue to be more involved in the black and gold brand, and it seems like 205 Live is becoming purple and orange to purple and black, we're going to discuss the impact that Jordan Devlin has so far on the brand as its new NXT Cruiserweight champion, the events that occurred on this week's 205 Live, and of course highlight some Cruiserweight moments that have been pretty much showcased and discussed among both NXT and NXT UK. And of course, if you want more details on that, please visit Aftermatch Wrestling, led by the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen R. Osborne, Radar Viewer, and of course, our own silly Jerry Slaughter, leader of Armbar, exclamation point, don't forget it, but I digress. But before we get into all that, and yes, cheap plug, allow me, of course, to introduce you to my co-hosts, and of course, our extra panelists tonight. This is going to be a special triple edition. First off, my co-host, you all should know him by now. He's a family man, he's a wise man, got more wrestling history and know-how than I ever could hope to have, although I'd probably beat him in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he's just a good-hearted person and a great guy to talk to. And he welcomes anybody who has a passion for wrestling and want to get your name out there. It's all about respect. It's, of course, my good friend, the holiday Christopher Mace. Chris, how are you this Sunday night?
Oh, fun, long work weekend. You had the New Beginning show early in the morning. You had Ring of Honor Free Enterprise that Mark Reviews went to live. So, been a long day between work and wrestling. So, I'm ready to just relax a little bit, talk about what happened on 205 Live.
Well, I guess the beauty of 205 Live is the fact that it's so fast and simple. It's easy to talk about for a long period of time. But honestly, you can just have fun with it. And speaking of which, we're definitely going to have some fun tonight. He's back, folks. It's been a while. He's been building his own brand. He's been busy. I might see him live this year. Only time will tell finances and family strategies. It's, of course, the leader of the Wrestling Rundown, creator of it, Wrestling Fortunes channel founder, and, of course, simply the Birdman of Boston, NXT member, Owen Finch. Owen, how are you this Sunday night? It's been a while, sir.
I know it's been a while. This is like the first time me and Noah and Chris Mace have talked in person in a long time because Noah and everyone's been so busy. But it's good to be back, and I'm ready to talk about Cruiserweight Wrestling because I haven't really been on much since it expanded to the NXT brand. So.
Yeah, what an evolution it's undergone, too. So with that, let's go ahead and get right into this night's show. As, of course, we have, I guess it's now the new permanent duo of John Quazzo, Aiden English. And this week's 205 Live emanated from San Jose, California. Because, again, episode numbers no longer exist. I think that's stupid, but whatever. And they basically first bring us into the show discussing what will be the main event. A first-time ever triple threat between three Cruiserweight champions, a current and two former. We have the new breed in Leo Rush. We have the man of the hour. We then have the premier athlete, former Cruiserweight champion, and 205 Live OG, I might add, in Tony Nese. And then you have the newest Cruiserweight champion and making his 205 Live debut all the way from the UK, the Irish ace, Jordan Devlin. But before I get into all that, we first go into our opening match, which is a tag. And basically, it was more about redemption and vengeance than anything else. And, of course, aggression. As we look at the recap that led us to this match, where you look at last month, where the Brian Kendrick returned to discuss, I am a professional wrestler, and I expect all the Cruiserweights to do something. And, of course, this philosophy apparently played towards his now newfound partnership, friendship, temporary alliance, you call it what you wish, with Arya Daivari. As 2 weeks ago, the Brian Kendrick and Arya Daivari, they worked together to get a win over Danny Burch, which infuriated the man, and he demanded a rematch. Go to last week, and you see Danny Burch getting the best of the Brian Kendrick, only for the match to end via DQ, with Arya Daivari getting involved. And then, as it looked like they were going to put him on the shelf for injury, who comes back after who knows how freaking long? The Fury of 205 Live. Like laser ammo. And a man you definitely been looking forward to returning, Chris. Oni Lorcan. And so we have this tag match up between the 1-2 connection. I don't really know if they have another name besides that. With Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan facing the newfound alliance of Arya Daivari So now we know the story. Let's go ahead and discuss this match and figure out what's to come. Owen, since you haven't been on for a while, I'll start with you. Give me your thoughts on this opening match and this tag feud. Where do you see it going from here?
I thought the match was a very good opening match. I like how they didn't give us enough of the match because the typical complaint I have is when Raw and SmackDown does these long matches, they just throw the match out with a DQ. At least this match wasn't long, so I was happy about that. And I really liked it. I really liked the heel work that Kendrick and Daivari were doing in this match, working over the leg of Danny Burch. Because that was a tie-in, too. They called that back because he injured the leg last week against Kendrick when he dropped him leg first on the announcer's table. And right. I love Kendrick using Danny Burch's hand to wave to the crowd in the ropes. That was hilarious. And then I definitely miss seeing that psycho killer Only Lorcan getting that hot tag, and he's just an absolute psycho. It's crazy to think, though, because he was actually like a cowardly heel in Top Rope Promotions, which is a local indie promotion in my area. It's so weird to think that he was like that, because you wouldn't know it from this match. And I didn't mind the match ending with a DQ finish, because it made sense, considering the fact that you can get more matches out of this. And, you know, Aria Daivari and the Brian Kendrick tried to end, you know, Danny Burch's career with the chair. And I love the callback with the Dudley's gimmick. I kind of hope they adopt that gimmick, you know, when they went to get the tables. And, you know, I think we're going to get like a no DQ match out of this. And the idea that I've been thinking of, you guys have talked about it before, is I think we're going to get like some mini faction with the 205 Live Originals. I think Tony Nese is going to join up with Kendrick and Daivari. I think when Gallagher comes back, he's going to join up with them, and maybe we're going to get some type of like elimination, like big tag match with the Originals versus like the new recruits. So that'd be like Only Lorcan, Danny Burch, like Leo Rush. Maybe we get thrown in there. Maybe like Tyler Breeze and stuff. I came up with the idea that maybe Drew Gulak comes back and say like this is the state that 205 Live's been in, you know, since I've left, because they're not doing crap with him on SmackDown. So I feel like just he should just go back to 205 Live. But anyhow, that was just basically a simple stances of itself. I really enjoyed this match, and I really am excited. I think we're going to get like either tables or like some type of no DQ match between these two teams.
All right, very fair assessment. And so help me, if I see Drew Gulak in a friggin' dark match before SmackDown starts live and I go see it next month in Detroit, I'm going to be pissed off. But I digress. Anyway, Chris, take me through your thoughts and theories on this match. And what did you think of Only Lorcan's return back to 205 Live in action?
Oh, I'm happy that Lorcan's back. I've been wanting him to come back. I wish he hadn't left, but, you know, business is business. He had to handle whatever business he had to handle with that, take his little sabbatical with everything. Glad he's back. This was a good match till we got the disqualification, but like I said, disqualifications, sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. This one made sense. Danny Burch and Only Lorcan were trying to get retribution for everything that's been happening in this build-up. And, of course, you know, like I said, they will beat the crap out of you, and that's what they were doing. They weren't trying to get the win here in this storytelling here. They were trying to hurt them, and that's what they ended up doing and got themselves disqualified. Yeah. So we will probably get a no disqualification match, hopefully next week, because I want to see how far these two teams can go against each other in a no disqualification match. I'm ready for the rematch. It needs to be no DQ.
No DQ, cheap plug. I mean, D-Brian and Kendrick are no strangers, though, to matches that involve weapons and destruction. Mm-hmm. Again, I saw D-Brian Kendrick live in a street fight against Akira Tozawa back in 2017, and we can never forget the Anything Goes match that friggin' Aria Daivari had with Only Lorcan. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a nice, fun, wild revenge, basically, as right out the gate, Lorcan with the hot start takes him out. Burch and D-Brian Kendrick, they're brawling with each other, but then advantage is given thanks to Aria Daivari with a distraction. Eventually, they're working the leg, like you said, control the pace of the match. Lorcan, though, you just see him boiling inside, waiting for that tag. He finally gets the hot tag, and the Fury, as he's known on 205 Live, is unleashed. And next thing you know, he's going to town on both men, delivering a wild running double blockbuster to both. Then comes a chair in play. Jessica Carr saying, "No, don't you do it." But Danny Burch really like, do it. and you just see the anger and the malice in Only Lorcan's face, the veins popping out of the side of his neck. So what does he do? He literally thrusts that chair into the midsection of Davari, DQ finish. But we're not done there, as we thought they were going to do something else big, and we're like, no. As it looked like he was about to bash his brains in, Danny Burch takes the chair. Okay, we are nowhere near Philadelphia. What's with the Team 3D Dudley influence here? Burch literally tells Oni to get the table that sends the crowd into elation, but before it could be used, Brian Kennedy pulls Davari to safety, and we'll see what happens from there. It would not surprise me one bit, because again, as you know, they don't announce anything anymore, it seems, until the actual show. We get either no DQ, or just based on what happened at the end, I could see these two trying to go at each other in another tag match again, or one-on-one to build towards another tag match, and we simply get a tables match to end this short little feud and see where it can lead to. Maybe the winning team could actually go to NXT and challenge for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Only time will tell. Because as you know, Only Lorcan and Danny Burch, they love to fight, but they also have their eyes on Tag Team Gold in NXT UK against Gallus. Mm-hmm. And we're getting that match this week. That's going to be wild. All right. So yeah, I would say not a bad opener, and welcome back, Only Lorcan. And that's pretty cool, Owen. You got to see Biff, and you see how much he's evolved. And the thing, at one point, Only Lorcan, he was literally going back to his original independent name, Biff Rules. You would think he was going to leave 205 Live and go back to the Indies. I guess the sabbatical or whatever happened, it all worked out. And I guess he's happy again. So it's all good. All right. So moving on from that, good freaking Lord. I want to take them seriously. I really do. But every time I hear Bali, I just want to drink myself to a coma. The Singh brothers versus two people. Shout out to our indie queen, Cindy G, who gave us a little bit of information on one of those two that, because again, they gave no names, no Twitter handles, like, oh, just two random guys.
No, there was names, Noah. There was names. I wrote them down.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for the rundown. The names, hold on, so I didn't think I was going to have to do this.
Well, it's like they show the thing like 2 seconds, so the moment I go get a Mountain Dew, it's like, there's no names. I just see Wise Man and some guy
in the airplane. So it's, Joe Fiora and Devin Dixie. I thought it said Devon Dixie, which I thought was hilarious. I don't know.
Okay, I could have sworn I heard Dixie somewhere in here. I'm not trying to think about TNA, but I digress. Singh brothers, they beat the hell out of one of these men and then drop kick the other in a short, simple showcase match with a Bollywood blast finish and win. Does anything else need to be said except for this opener when I thought they were doing the mirroring thing? I thought for sure we were getting shades of, oh, this is happening to one person, this should happen to the other. I thought they were going to do like a Damien Mizdow type thing, which probably would have made me laugh at this. But this right here was just, why? Just why? Anyway, hey, they're a tag team. They're getting victories. They showcase a little bit of aggression I could get behind, but I need to see less of these. That's all. Chris, I know you are very vocal about the Bollywood Boys, especially since they're no longer the crash test dummies of former WWE champion Jinder Mahal, and I still can't believe that happened. So, tell me for your thoughts on the Singh brothers and this match.
I mean, if they're going to build the Singh brothers up to challenge one of the other tag teams, like a Lorcan or Danny Burch or the new team of the Davari and Brian Kendrick, which wouldn't make any sense because they're both heels, but hey, this is that day of age, everything shades of gray. It's not as simple as heel babyface. But, I mean, I know Good Brother Chris made mention of these two gentlemen that were in there, like they're big names in the independent scene. I can't remember what the quote is, so forgive me, Good Brother Chris. I can't remember now what you told me to sing about it, but my bad. I said I would. I went brain dead on it.
Also, thanks.
But like I said, at the end of the day, it's like I guess they're trying to build them up, but what are they trying to build them up for? Because they're not really appearing on Raw or SmackDown very seldomly. It's not like they're going to get built up to challenge for the tag title. So I have no idea. I'm just glad. I will say one thing. I'm glad that they don't have that 24/7 horrible-looking title anymore on 205 Live. They're not carrying it anymore, so I'm glad about that. That's one positive.
All right, fair enough. Owen, any further takeaways on the Singh brothers? Does one impress you more than the other? Do you think they need to go for a character change? Are you taking them seriously? Do you think they could ever be tag team champions?
It's just I don't really. They've been doing this gimmick for so long, it's starting to get stale, and it seems like they do these squash matches way too often. And then when they have like a real match with somebody, they either lose or just get squashed. So, what's the point? The biggest takeaway I take away from this is just how much Aiden English just hates the Bollywood boys. Like he hates them. He and I love it anytime he tries to compliment them. They're just doing the Bollywood gimmick. So then he's like he just can't do it. He just can't. Um, I think it's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things too, which where main roster is infiltrating NXT because because they're involved with the 24/7 title things. It kind of makes them a joke because they were doing better when they weren't involved with that, but since they're involved with that a lot, they can't really be taken seriously. Um, and I don't, and th- This is just killing my dream even more because me and James had wanted cruiserweight tag titles, but we're never gonna get
Hmm.
those, which isn't fair because they keep breaking up all the tag teams. Um, so yeah, because I feel like now it's not gonna happen now that the cruiserweights fall under the NXT banner because they have other things to go for other than the cruiserweight title. So I think it would have made more sense to do it, but when 205 Live was kind of under its own umbrella, but now they kind of now it doesn't really make any sense, and it makes me sad. And I don't really see the point of
But
the Sin Brothers being on 205 Live now. They if they're not going to be a team, they can't go for the singles titles. So I don't know.
That'd be kind of wild
I
to think
mean, but you have the
about, though. Go ahead, Chris.
no, but you have the possibility now with 205 Live being part of NXT and NXT UK that they could challenge any cruiserweight tag team could challenge for either the NXT tag titles or the NXT UK tag titles too. And me and Noah did reference on last week's episode. We named off several tag teams that could be, in line to create a cruiserweight tag team division like they did in the late part of WCW's time, even though it was for a brief. The last pay-per-view they had, Greed, until they closed, which is only just a month, they could create those tag titles. They have at least 7 or 8 tag teams between the NXT, NXT UK, and 205 Live brand to create those titles if they want to.
And to think right now, Only Lorcan and Danny Burch, that's one of the longest tag teams you can see under NXT and 205 Live, and they might potentially be going after the NXT UK tag titles. Imagine those showing up in the 205 Live banner. 205 Live is literally international at this point. Anyway,
Yes.
moving on from there, ladies and gentlemen, we are 57 days away from WrestleMania. Get your Monster Energy drinks ready because I guarantee you it's going to be 8 hours long again. Good freaking Lord. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. So now let's move on to the main event. And again, this is where 205 Live thrives, giving you incredible, fast-paced action and one hell of a main event to remember and really think about. So with that being said, we go into our between Tony Nese, Leo Rush, and the debuting, I might add, new NXT Cruiserweight Champion Jordan Devlin. Before we get into this, let's just first talk about how Jordan Devlin has changed the landscape of 205 Live, including everybody right now gunning for him. You look at NXT. I'll start with you, Owen. Give me your thoughts on NXT with Angel Garza and his match against Isaiah Swerve Scott, but the message he also delivered after his match.
The match with them was awesome, especially because it made sense since Devlin pinned Scott to get the title, so Garza's blaming him for the reason he lost the title. So I thought that was cool. And Angel Garza winning. I'm really looking forward to when they have their rematch. I think too what's gonna happen is maybe they'll have Rey Mysterio cost him the rematch. Get like a main roster guy in NXT for not and kind of continue that so that and Rey Mysterio showing up on NXT would be a big deal. Um, and I love it. I love the fact that Devlin's the champion now. Considering the fact that now he just kind of opens all the brands up. And as I talked about before, I think him being the champion it really works because he wasn't going to get the UK title at any point in time. So this gives him something to go for. And it gives finally at least somewhat of a mid-card championship in the NXT UK brand, which is what we all kind of wanted. So I'm really happy about it.
Well, considering the UK brand right now is trying to build a tag team division with multiple tag teams not only signed but put together, and all these people could potentially be on 205 Live, including but not limited to, oh, I don't know, Amir Jordan, Kenny Williams, Ashton Smith. I mean, the possibilities are very vast. But considering that, let's also look at the fact Jordan Devlin, he's not only been involved now on 205 Live up to this point, he also is, of course, a prime top-tier superstar in NXT UK. He was also involved this week in NXT. He's been on all three brands this week.
Yeah.
Chris, tell me for your thoughts on Jordan Devlin, his match against Tyler Breeze on NXT, and the message he kind of conveyed on NXT UK to basically everybody.
Here's a couple thoughts on this. They had built up Tyler Breeze up a little bit. You know, he got some big wins on 205 Live. They've been building him up. So, like I said, the only loss he's had since becoming part of the 205 Live brand was the loss he had to Angel Garza recently. So They had been doing a good job building him up. So then they give him this match with Jordan Devlin. Like I said, they could have put anybody against Jordan Devlin. I wanted them to kind of save Tyler Breeze for a little bit later, like keep building, let him be a little more established in the 205 Live brand before they did the match. The match itself was pretty good. It was great how Jordan Devlin just pretty much, you know, you could see a little difference in his personality. Now he's a champion. You could see that difference in his personality, his mindset, what he's got to do to make sure he wins these matches. My only critique about it would have been the aftermatch. You know, Angel Garza was there on NXT on Wednesday. You want your title back so bad, why didn't you go out there after Jordan Devlin's match and confront him? Why weren't you at the announce table watching what Jordan Devlin does, studying what he's doing, trying to figure out ways, trying to figure out, going up there demanding, I want my rematch for that title. I want my match for that title. Do something. You're just going to sit there in the back and do nothing. You beat the crap out of Isaiah Swerve Scott, blaming him for you losing your title, and you're not going to go there to confront Jordan Devlin, who was on the same show you were on Wednesday?
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking about that too. Hey, at least at NXT, they don't watch from an awkward angle. At least AEW actually knows how to watch TV. But anyway, I'm going off in the weeds. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I found it kind of odd they chose Tyler Breeze because when I think about, okay, you're a cruiserweight, you're just being rebuilt, et cetera, you're the champion. I honestly thought his first opponent on Mendoza. Because really, around Mendoza, he's always been in that kind of spot to put over that person, but also showcase his skill. So it surprised me that they picked Tyler Breeze for this, because again, he had incredible momentum going into 205 Live so far with only one defeat. But when you think about it now, 205 Live is not just 205 Live, it is now NXT and NXT UK. So your wins and losses matter on all three brands. So this is only going to backfire Tyler Breeze a little further down, I think, in title contention. And then, of course, Jordan Devlin, he's like, well, I'm the champ now. This title's going to be part of NXT UK, and as his chairman, I expect all comers. I expect everyone to step up, but don't bet against the ace. Simple as that. And Owen, going back to your thought, I honestly thought they were going to do an over-the-top wrestling type storyline with Walter, where Jordan Devlin was going to face Walter again for that title at the next takeover. Guess I was wrong. But then again, never say never, because right now we know what's next for Walter. Dave Mastiff. Oh boy. And I have no idea what the next UK takeover is going to be, but we'll talk more about that later. All right, so with that being said, we talk about Jordan Devlin. We talk about this newfound, like you said, kind of confidence in the way he carries himself, because now basically nobody can deny him. Let's go into this main event, because we had basically Jordan Devlin once again proving a point, or at least attempting to, and then you have really, I think, the internal breakdown in not Tony Nese this time, who I usually thought was kind of, trying to figure himself out. He seems to figure himself again. Egotistical premier athlete. Look at me. Got better pecs. Y'all don't belong here. Blah, blah, blah. But Leo Rush, apparently, who's fighting against, some would say, his own demons. At first, he just wants to beat Angel Garza. He wants his title back. Now it's just a matter of he wants his title back, but Tony Nese is making him look like a fool and saying he doesn't belong. And it kind of made Jordan Devlin an afterthought initially. Now, I have a ton of notes on this, but again, this is not about me just ranting and play-by-play matching. This is about discussion. So with that being said, Chris, take me through your thoughts on this match, the outcome, and honestly, based on what happened here, do you think one of these men is not going to challenge for the Cruiserweight title anytime soon?
Tony Nese isn't going to challenge for it anytime soon after the way this played out. They made the first half of this match more about Tony Nese and Leo Rush and their history. I kind of feel like they made Jordan Devlin like the side note here. Like, he's the champion, but he should have been showcased a little bit more through the whole match, I feel like. He is your new champion. This is actually his first official match because he has been, folks, on the 205 Live brand before, if you remember correctly, in that horrible segment that we won't mention that guy ever being there. We want to burn that out of our memories. But he has been on there before and he's made appearances, but he's never wrestled a match. So this is his first match on 205 Live, and the first half of the match, he was like the sideshow. He was like the odd one out because of the feud going on with Lio Rush and Tony Nese from weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, the champion won, which was the right decision to make. His aftermatch promo pretty much, y'all want this, you're going to have to come to Ireland, you have to come get me over here on NXT UK pretty much, because that's where you're going to have to go get him at. And I'm like I said, I'm calling it now. Like I said, Angel Garza is going to get the first shot at him for that championship on this side of the U.S., but I still think Tyler Bate will be the one that challenged him in NXT UK brand because of the fact that he has the victory over him at most recently. He has that big win over Jordan Devlin, so he should be out there going, look, I beat you. I just recently beat you. Give me a shot at title. He's got all kinds of challengers everywhere he goes, so they have a lot of different options they can do. And that's really the big difference now. With them being in NXT and NXT UK now, with Jordan Devlin being the champion in the NXT UK brand, coming to each different brand, this is like an old school kind of territory feel to it. And the reason I say that is because now the champion is having to go to different places. He's having to travel overseas. He's having to travel to the U.S. He's having to face all comers. He's having to put his title line against different you want to consider different territories, different shows, different ideas. And so his possibilities of opponents is endless with him being champion. I think this was a smart decision putting the title on him because now it has opened up the floodgate with a lot of different people that can challenge him for that title anytime.
And now you could have Cruiserweight Championship matches literally in the UK. So Tyler Bate, I think, is a very interesting name considering those two have already had a Match of the Year candidate one-on-one, and Tyler Bate does own a victory over him. But before we talk more about how NXT UK could shape the Cruiserweight division and potentially showcase this title, Owen, take me through your thoughts on this match. Now, we all saw who lost here, but let's forget about the person who was not involved in the fall. What do you think is next for Lio Rush, and any other takeaways you have on any of these men?
So when it comes to what's next for Lio Rush, I think, Lio Rush and Tony Nese are going to continue their feud. I think they're going to have another match because throughout this match, they were really trying to get their hands on each other. Tony Nese kept saying to Lio Rush that you don't belong in this match since I beat you. And he does have that count-out loss from a couple weeks ago. As for the match, I really enjoyed it. I even love how they kind of did a callback to it with, Lio Rush and Tony Nese only focusing on each other. And Jordan Devlin says, I'm the champ, I'm right here, and they kind of take him out. I always enjoy the triple threat matches under the NXT UK or the NXT banner because everybody in the triple threat match is always doing stuff. There's not one moment really where someone's kind of just laying around because that's usually what I hate about triple threat matches. I really love that Devlin has adopted the Uranagi into the Spanish Fly at the same time when he does triple threat matches. That's really cool. They did a callback to that double count out finish with Nese and Rush, which was awesome. And I feel like too kind of them focusing Rush and Nese focusing on each other kind of benefited Jordan Devlin because Jordan Devlin was able to kind of utilize that and capitalize on him getting a victory. And I thought the crowd would kind of chanting stuff like this is boring, but I feel like they were able to get the crowd into it by eventually just doing a lot of cool stuff. And obviously, like Chris said, Jordan Devlin obviously wouldn't make sense since this was his first match on the brand as the champion. Like that he did the promo afterwards where he got to get his catchphrase over. And I think what's going to happen is when he goes back to the NXT UK brand, they're setting up a feud between Tyler Bate and Joseph Connors. And if that's still correct, I know Tyler Bate is, but Joseph Connors, I believe, is still under the 205 Live weight limit. So that could be a number one contenders match, and Tyler Bate could beat him, and then obviously that could set up, Tyler Bate versus Jordan Devlin, because they're launching a feud between Connors and Bate right now. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, really, really no complaints about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here to really consider now. But I feel like now the OG I might add in this match to a niece. Good grief, man. You need to pull something together. Yeah, this match was very interesting considering, once again, how everybody looked at Jordan Devlin before he became champion. It came into play here in the very beginning, like you said. Afterthought. It's like, why are you here? You don't matter. Blah, 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 blah. You're the champion. Rush and Mace, they were, of course, duking it out, jamming at words. I already beat you. I don't know why you're in this match. You don't belong here. They even recapped how 2 weeks ago, Tony Nese beat Lil Rush via countout. A win's a win, regardless. And then following this, we just had advantage after advantage after advantage. At one point, it was just Rush and Devlin as Nese was taken out, and then a double super kick basically took him out. Nese still comes into play with the moonsault, and then Devlin, he takes over with a wicked DDT, and then once again showcasing why he's the champion, and you all should definitely not bet against me, as he Uranagi's Rush on the knees, stacks him like cornwood, yeah, I just said that, sorry, and literally moonsaults on top of them, nice fall. Okay, and then Nese, he gets advantage, sweeps the leg, cartwheel escape off the apron, and then drops Devlin with a forearm smash, and then Rush comes into play with his handspring kick, drops Nese off. Again, it was always back and forth, back and forth. Devin, he comes into play. He catches Rush while running with a standing Spanish fly in the middle of the ring. I don't know how you do that. Devin, of course, he gets Rush over his shoulder. This was a very unique move, I might add, but I don't know if this did more damage to Devlin or Rush, as he literally dropped him on his shoulder for a backbreaker and then put him in a neck crank. A very interesting combination. Following this, though, Nese and Devlin, they literally form a temporary alliance after Rush is caught up on the top rope. But then Devlin, of course, don't trust the Irish Ace. He headbutts the hell out of Nese. And then all three men, they do their wild moves over the top rope. But first, Lio Rush, he pulls off a top rope crossbody on both Devlin and Nese. And Rush takes over this match, again, showing his evasiveness, his speed, agility. Fury strikes against Tony Nese. Roundhouse kick, still not enough. He gets a come up impromptu on Jordan Devlin at first, but then gets the come up on Tony Nese afterwards, which is, of course, that bottom rope rebound stunner. And then following that, Rush, he goes suicide dives. Tony Nese launches like a bullet. And then Devlin with the moonsault. And then Nese, Frostberry flop. And this really gets the crowd into it at this point. Following that, Rush, he gets thrown over the announce table. A callback, like you said, to their count-out match. And then Devlin, he basically gets catapulted. And then Nese gets DDT'd. We get a near fall, but it's saved by Rush at the very last second. Crowd's basically into the match at this point. Devlin once again with a wicked headbutt. Then Rush finally goes for his final hour, only for Tony Nese to literally launch himself over the fallen Devlin, roll through, pop-up palm strike. So Rush right now is incapacitated on the top rope. Tony Nese takes control. Next thing you know, Tony Nese, he sets up his sunset driver, near fall, and Devlin kicks out on his own. But then he goes for his 450 splash and crashes, as it seems like he always does that move and it ends up hurting him in the end. But then, out of nowhere, off screen, Lio Rush tries to hit him with the final hour, and Lio Rush hits Nese. Very good awareness. And then, somehow, Tony Nese gets himself back together, pulls off another 450, and connects on freaking Lio Rush. But the ultimate opportunist, like you said, he did the same thing at TakeOver. He catches Nese into Devlin's side and wins 1, 2, 3. Good grief, a frenzy of a triple. And the OG is the one to eat the fall here, which I find rather interesting. Because right now, Lio Rush, I mean, hey, Tony Nese, okay, you got victory over Lio Rush, but you got pinned by the champion. Why should you be considered championship contention? Lio Rush, former champion, he lost to Angel Garza. Angel Garza trying to put his name in the hat. I can see another one contenders match being set between Angel Garza, Lio Rush, maybe an NXT UK representative, something similar to Worlds Collide. We'll have to see. Because like you said, the NXT UK picture is deep. You got the idea of Joseph Connors and Tyler Bate being number one contenders match, but you also got to consider how many other men Jordan Devlin has history with. Let's not count out people like, oh, I don't know, Mark Andrews, Ligero, Flash Morgan Webster might actually go after this title for all we know. There's a ton of new potential cruiserweight opportunities that could happen under the UK brand, thanks to Jordan Devlin taking that title as champion. Like you said, in his post-match promo, his new catchphrase is, "Do you believe me now?" Would not surprise me if that becomes a shirt. Then again, NXT gear is much more appealing than regular main roster gear, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, well, you want it, you got to come over to the UK, because that's where this is going, because, as always, you never bet against an ace. I also want to bring up one name we have not mentioned at all, and we don't know what he's doing, but I guess he recently won the ICW World Championship. Noam Dar. Noam Dar
Yep.
could be a potential contender, I think, for Jordan Devlin. And again, like you said, the lines are blurred when it comes to the NXT, NXT UK division. You don't necessarily get booed, you just get a reaction. And honestly, that's the most important thing you should get as a wrestler. If you get no reaction, you kind of just, lost in the slump. But yeah, a very interesting main event. Didn't basically announce anything for next week in regards to NXT UK, NXT, or 205 Live. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are wide open. So with that being said, I thought this was another very good episode as we continue to evolve the international 205 Live brand, as Andy English puts over. Also gives Jordan Devlin the fist bump because he's like, I recognize talent when I see it. Andy English, again, the greatest strength of 205 Live. I don't know what Drake Maverick's doing. Jack Gallagher still MIA. There's still a lot of unknowns across the entire 205 Live and NXT division. But with that being said, let's go ahead, banter, fantasy book, question, and discuss some other cruiserweight stuff with some simple stances. And for those of you who have watched this for the first time, we always review the show, but we always have aftermatch thoughts and outlooks, expectations, and just suggestions of what we think should happen next within or beyond the cruiserweight division, 205 Live or above. So with that being said, Owen, you haven't been on here for a while, and I know you're a thinking man. What's on your mind so far for simple stances regarding anything with the cruiserweight division?
So, you probably have covered it before, but just because it's the first time I've been on for a while, I'm just going to cover it again. And I kind of alluded to it. The frustration of how Drew Gulak is being used on the main roster. Drew Gulak was somebody who came to the Cruiserweight division back in 2016. He did really well in the Cruiserweight Classic. He, lost to Zack Sabre Jr., I believe, in the semifinals or the quarterfinals. I forget which one. And then he founded for a bit the 205 Live brand when it was under Vince's run. But then eventually when that person we talked about, that we don't want to talk about, was in the division, Gulak was able to shine. He was doing the PowerPoint gimmick and he was really making it work for himself. He was doing other things. But then eventually when Triple H took over the 205 Live brand, that's when Drew Gulak really started to hit his stride. He started to get more aggressive, and he formed a partnership with Kendrick and Gallagher, and they would feud with the lights of the Lucha House Party, and then obviously would kick Kendrick out of the group. And then eventually, Drew Gulak ended his partnership with Gallagher and, disappeared. Had the new gimmick where pretty much he wanted to just rebuild the 205 Live under his image, and it was all about him, and it led to him finally winning the title, and he was unstoppable pretty much. The only person that dethroned him was Leo Rush. He ran through everybody, and then we were wondering if they were going to do a rematch, but then he got drafted to SmackDown, I believe, not on the bump. It wasn't even on the show. So that kind of showed you what that was going to happen right there. And, this was when I was on my main roster hiatus, but I had heard about it. His first match, he went right back to the PowerPoint presentation, which is very inconsistent, because how can you change gimmicks overnight? I know technically he did it before, obviously, but that really wasn't, their fault. It was all with the taping schedule because NXT was being taped when he was still under the other gimmick while he was changing. So obviously you got to give that a pass. But he literally went from being the dark soul of 205 Live to all of a sudden back to the PowerPoint presentation. That's not how it works. You don't just change your personality like that unless you got some, mental illnesses and such and split personalities. Other than that, it's not going to happen. And, then he pretty much has been inactive on SmackDown. And I really don't get it. I don't get why he went back.
Mm-hmm. It's something to consider, that's for sure.
And then we could have gotten, Like if Cesaro went face, maybe a match between him and Cesaro. Maybe put him in the tag team with Cesaro. Just anything better than what he's doing now. Like he's pretty much non-existent on SmackDown. The last appearance he made that I remember is he lost to Otis in a squash. And it's really pathetic. Like I really don't understand this. Because Buddy Murphy is thriving on Raw. Now, obviously, Raw is written by Heyman, and that's one of Heyman's guys. But Gulak is just as talented as Buddy Murphy, and he deserves the same credentials and same credibility. If they're not going to do anything with him, put him back on 205 Live. And I don't understand why you can't do both shows, because the Lucha House Party were doing Raw and Smack and 205 at the same time. And then that's even weird, too, because the Lucha House Party are literally in the arena, and they can't even do 205 Live. I guess they want to keep the plans, like, separated, but I don't understand why you can't just do both shows. It's really a shame, and I think it's just a huge waste of talent. And, obviously, too, I think if this continues, I honestly could see him leaving, or at least wanting to get released and going back to the indies, whether it's, to NWA, which I think would be good for him because that would fit his style because of wrestling, or he could go to, AEW. That's always an option. I don't know if he could do the New Japan style, but he could definitely go to ROH because he's done that stuff. But yeah, I'm really frustrated with how Gulak's being used because he could maybe not necessarily be in the main event picture, but he could definitely be in the upper mid-card, at least picture, fighting for the IC title. So that just really is frustrating me. And it really, like at least with Kanellis, he was, even though he was part of that crap storyline, at least he was on TV. Like Gulak can't even seem to get on TV, so it's really frustrating to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Talking Eater, as properly named, Owen Finch, giving you his State of 205 Live address for one Drew Gulak. So let me go ahead and give a sub-statement for us that stance on that. First off, Owen, thank you for that. Very passionate, and I definitely understand your concerns. But Drew Gulak's not the only one who has suffered since moving away from the purple-orange brand. The list goes on and on. You have Andre Alexander, who's been reduced probably to main event because, well, Vince McMahon's like, he's too short, he's not good enough, he's going to bury him. That's why I got squashed by AJ Styles. You got Akira Tozawa, who I think the last match he was with a quick squash against Akira Tozawa. I think Aleister Black got kicked off.
Drew
McIntyre. It was McIntyre.
AJ Styles. When he used Randy Orton's move, the RKO.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that short stint. Again, I only watch Raw highlights, and I tend to forget about 80% of it. Because, again, my number one is New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, let's go ahead and break it down like this to have some fun with this. So, you think Drew Gulak is one person you could see leaving, and you potentially could see him maybe finding, I don't know, in the NWA. Now, I don't know if you watch New Japan Pro Wrestling like me, can't you tell, which is, of course, my number one, but they got something called Bloody Takas, with Taiji, who's one of the most furious kickers in the game, and, of course, the Vegan Hydra / submission master, Zack Sabre Jr. Is a submission-based wrestler. He could definitely work under New Japan Pro Wrestling or even under Rev Pro. So with that, I'm going to ask you all simply this. Now, you gave your state of address, and you already mentioned Drew Gulak going to NWA, but let's see if we can figure out the other cruiserweights, and let's think about where could they be going. So, Chris, I'll start with you. If you could pick up one cruiserweight that has been moved away from 205 Live and NXT, but you could sense they might have grievances against their current position, where do you see them going if they were to leave WWE? Pick a name, pick a promotion.
Drew Gulak, New Japan, because of the fact, look at the match he had with Kushida. He had two incredible matches with Kushida. He also wrestling for the Cruiserweight Championship on the line at the Evolve show. They had to have the rubber match with that feud. He could work the style of New Japan. He could be in the junior heavyweight division. He could hold his own in that. He is looking like this. I compared Drew Gulak to Dean Malenko. That's how much high praise I have of Drew blah blah blah. I'm getting tongue twisted. Drew Gulak and his wrestling ability. I have compared him to the likes of Dean Malenko, who is my all-time favorite cruiserweight wrestler of all time. Dean Malenko had the history of going to work in New Japan with his brother many years ago. He learned the style of New Japan. Drew Gulak could go if he left WWE. Say he wanted out, he left tomorrow. They said he's released. He could go to New Japan and have a successful career in the IWGP Junior Heavyweight division. I think he would make an awesome addition. He could have phenomenal matches with Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. The list goes on of how many people he could have incredible matches with. So therefore, I would say Drew Gulak. I would say New Japan would be the best fit for him. But I do like Owen's idea. If he wanted to stay in the U.S., he could go to NWA. His style of wrestling would fit perfectly with that brand.
Yeah, definitely, because it goes back to that old school method of submission-based wrestling, and then of course you have the modern take on a classic art with Zack Sabre Jr. So again, his style, especially if it goes back to that dark, aggressive Drew Gulak, take no prisoners, I am the law attitude. I can see him having incredible classics, like I said, with the likes of Zack Sabre Jr., Sonata, heck, even Okada. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see here. I think about so many names. Lucha House Party, Kalisto, he already signed. We don't know what's exactly going on with Lindsay Dorado, Grand Metal League, but they could go back to CMLL maybe and work with the likes of Ryu Lee or Caristico or Sabino Jr. Honestly, I can see these guys being more involved in Ring of Honor. Cedric Alexander, go join your wife in freaking AEW, man, okay?
Yeah.
They could use the extra agility that you offer and stuff like that. It would offer a new dynamic. I like the fact you said Dean Malenko is one of your favorite wrestlers, but the promotions you mentioned were NJPW and NWA, when Dean Malenko works under AEW. But anyway, I was just thinking about that. Mike Kanellis, we know what he's doing now. Apparently, he's back with an impromptu tag team, as far as house show line goes, with Tony Nese. So I think it's safe to say he's okay there. And again, he still says 205 Live, best wrestling on the planet, best brand. I've seen it from the 205 Live fan club, Twitter group, if y'all ain't following it. And honestly, yeah, and Jack Gallagher at this point, if you are not coming back to 205 Live, dude, you might as well just go back to the UK scene and do something with yourself, because his demands aren't being fulfilled. Drake Maverick is MIA. He's supposed to be free agent, but he's not even involved on the show anymore. Not since, he was being bullied for his height. Fucking hate that. So yeah, I definitely agree with those decisions. Now, Akira Tozawa, he's another one that I think about. I could definitely see going back to probably Pro Wrestling Noah, if not NJPW. He could probably do some great stuff there again as well, because right now he's probably involved in main event. The fact that main event still fucking exists is baffling to me, considering Superstars was more over and relevant, and that is gone. And that was the show before SmackDown. They don't have show before SmackDown. They have a dark match, and that's it.
Hey, one thing that 205 Live provided us, it canceled Superstars because 205 Live took Superstars' spot. So
I thought Superstars was before SmackDown. I'm pretty sure it was before SmackDown when I once saw the giant LED like wall that they used to have. So I don't know if I can necessarily take that for fact.
What happened was 205 Live took its place because they had so much content that they needed to get rid of a show. So they got rid of Superstars.
Yeah, and somehow main event stayed in place. What a crime. But hey, I guess you gotta give matches to Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Jinder Mahal, Mojo Rawley, and other jobbers their own platforms so they can actually feel like they're relevant, I guess. I don't fucking know. Anyway, yeah, that's very interesting thoughts considering how many cruiserweights have been moved from 205 Live and necessarily have been since moving. The only ones that seem to have some sort of momentum behind them is Buddy Murphy, and I fucking refuse to call him by his newly named just Murphy, and Mustafa Ali. But I digress. All right, so a very strong statement, Owen, and a good side stance to go into. So with that being said, Chris, what's on your mind tonight on Simple Stances that you would like to discuss? What do you think about cruiserweight-wise?
You know what? We got so many cruiserweights right now with Jordan Devlin being the cruiserweight champion. We got so many more options for different cruiserweight matches now. Could we see something like TNA did? I'm referencing TNA, folks, because I actually like this concept they did years ago. So could we see some kind of World Cup tournament where you put 4 teams together and you could have either like a World Cup tournament, or you could do it, but let's do it a little bit differently. You could have 4 men from the 205 Live show that are the originals, 4 men from the NXT version, and 4 men from NXT UK, and they could have sort of like a competition to see which one of the 3 shows has the best roster of cruiserweights.
I can see that being like a subdivision really of Collide, if they ever did that as part of a Worlds Collide special. But then again, Worlds Collide right now, new franchise, is more just about dream matches between your guy from NXT or your guy from NXT UK. Which brand do you rely on? By the way, Worlds Collide, one of the best things I've seen so far this year. That was fucking amazing. Anyway, with the fact they also do have, though, the Dusty Tag Classic, which pretty much includes anybody from 205 Live, NXT or NXT UK, including the impromptu tag team that we got to see one time only of Time Splitters. And might I add, Kushida technically is a cruiserweight because he did have one match under 205 Live. I kind of could see them maybe some sort of inclusion like that, but I don't necessarily see that as a full-fledged tournament. But again, if you want to try and bring cruiserweight tag team together for cruiserweight championships, I would kind of like to see that, especially with the fact now that they have potentially this new tag team forming in Tony Nese and Mike to come to. Owen, what are your thoughts on that idea?
So this World Cup, because I didn't really watch TNA during that era, so is that just basically like a cruiserweight like tag team like tournament, or is it like a team of 4 teams?
It majority had a lot of guys who were in the exhibition, which during that time, like I said, exhibition was a lot of the cruiserweights. But it was like Team Mexico, you had Team Japan that was headed up by one year by Jushin Thunder Liger. You had Team USA, and that's how you formed Team Canada originally, was because they were part of the World Cup. That's how you got Team Canada originally.
Eric Young.
I mean, I actually like that idea, because that can be kind of that way too. You can kind of do this feud too with that I talked about with the team originals of 205 Live and the team, new recruits. You can have like the main representative obviously be the Brian Kendrick, obviously, since he's kind of the one that got this thing started. And I really don't know who could be like the one in the new recruits, because it all varies of who like the new is the face. The new recruit I would have represent maybe would be Isaiah Swerve Scott, just because I think he could be a leader when it comes to the cruiserweight division, just because I think he's got so much potential as a babyface, and I like the idea. You can even include some guys, like I said, from NXT UK and NXT, and maybe you can do like maybe like a Team NXT version, or like a Team NXT UK, but I really like that idea because it makes because one of the flaws about 205 Live, I think right now, it's a really easy show to watch, but I feel like since it's kind of become under the NXT banner, I feel like the show itself, while it has storylines going on, but it feels like somewhat the storylines are very kind of like a bit inconsistent, because it's a lot of just wrestling. We're not really seeing like any promos anymore and stuff like that. We're not really seeing Drake Maverick get involved in the show really. So right. Maybe this can be a reason for people to want to tune into 205 Live, and maybe this would make people want to stay for 205 Live. And they could even if they don't have like the team original stuff, they could even like do like a Team Japan one, because obviously they would have Kushida and such, and they could do like a Team Mexico one. And this can be a way, I remember when they did the first Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, because it was the first one and everyone wanted to pay tribute to Dusty Rhodes, that some people came back to NXT, so you could also bring some of the people back that we discussed to 205 Live, and maybe like do like a team with like not originals, but what would we call them, like Team Returning or something like that, with like Cedric, Drew Gulak and such. So I think that'd be a great idea, and maybe like whoever wins it in the team either can get like a title match of their choosing, so that could be the cruiserweight title, or they can get like a tag title of their choosing, so they could go for the NXT or the NXT UK tag titles, or they could use it as a gateway to get like a shot at the Raw or SmackDown, or maybe a singles title on the main roster. Which I wouldn't do that one, obviously, because once they get up there, they'd probably get like squashed in 3 seconds. Well,
at least Cedric survived a couple of matches, but you wouldn't be wrong. It's definitely, though, something to think about, because, again, 205 Live is so full of international talent. It's a melting pot at this point. Japanese, European, Canadian, Mexican, American. I mean, it's all over the place. So it definitely is a potential idea that could work. And, again, Swerve is a guy that does not lack confidence one bit. It's still kind of surprising me that right now, to this point, he has not been the Cruiserweight champion. I thought he was a top-tier runner. But anyway, All right, so that's an interesting thought. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to close with this question because we talked a lot about fantasy booking. We talked a lot about multi-person scenarios, but we also brought up TNA. So I'm just going to ask this simple question because you know WWE likes to try and recreate or bring back gimmicks in their own way, hence War Games Without a Roof. Do you think they should bring in what they call it? The freaking damn it, I can't think of it. Ultimate X. Do you think they should bring in some sort of alternative to Ultimate X for the cruiserweight division to determine a cruiserweight champion? Say, oh, I don't know, maybe a special highlight match during NXT Takeover Tampa, or would you like to see some sort of God, I cannot remember the damn name of the match. Ultimate X. Yeah, Ultimate X. That's what it is. Excuse me. Do you think
It
they
was
should basically
Ultimate
try
X.
and bring? Yeah, I'm thinking Ultimate X, Elevation X. Again, I haven't watched that TNA stuff in a long time, but I remember those. But anyway, I'll start with you, Chris, because again, you go all the way back to WCW. Do you think WWE will, or do you think they should try and bring an Ultimate X type gimmick to the cruiserweight division?
Yeah, why not? Why not? They got enough hot. They got enough wrestlers. They got enough cruiserweight wrestlers with the high flying ability and everything like that, and the athletics and the strength to be able to pull it off. Yeah, I think they could pull it off. They could do it. It could be something similar, like I wouldn't put like an X, like a contract there, like an X, like they did before, like in TNA. I wouldn't copy it that far, but I would do something. Some kind of match similar up there. Like I said, the winner gets the opportunity to challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship. What I'd be more intrigued about, I wish they would do one thing that I absolutely agreed with TNA doing when Austin Aries did it first. I wish they would allow it where if you're the Cruiserweight Champion, that you could at any point cash in your championship and try to challenge for one of the heavyweight titles. Because I think that cruiserweight champion versus the cruiserweight champion versus the heavyweight champion has always been a great dynamic because of the fact you never know. Like I said, it's been proven that a cruiserweight that's classified as a cruiserweight wrestler can win a world title. It's been proven before. So that would be something more realistic I would like to see too. But to answer your question with one of my side note, yes, I think they can pull off an Ultimate X match. I think they can pull it off. They have plenty of talent that they should be able to pull it off.
Keep in mind, though, the option C only comes into play one time a year if you have the title during that time. And since we know that WWE does not have a Destination X pay-per-view / cruiserweight special, it'd kind of be weird to have that considering you don't know exactly what time to cash it in unless they literally did it as a WrestleMania spotlight per se or match build. So that being said, Owen, all these spots, do you consider that the Cruiserweight should have some sort of option C? If so, when? And would you like to see some sort of Ultimate X type gimmick match for the Cruiserweight division in WWE?
I like the idea of them doing like an option C because when the TNA did it, it made the X Division title really important. The only thing is if they do it, though, I feel like the problem is when TNA did it is it was a great idea, but the X Division title only felt important around that time, and then every other year they were kind of just, it would just kind of still be a hot potato type of title and everything. They kind of didn't really treat it as important until it got to the Destination X show. And with the state of the main roster, maybe not so much Raw because, Heyman's running it. I just think WWE, honestly, would just do it once and then forget about it. Because, WWE moves on from things really quickly. Like, what was something they moved on with from,
Brawl for All.
Yeah. So they have a tendency to forget about that type of stuff. But I think it'd be a great idea. As for something that they could put in, I would like the idea maybe them of doing Ultimate X, or I didn't really mind the escape matches. Because I saw in TNA where you had the 6 X Division wrestlers or 8 fight in an escape, and you do elimination type of style match, and then obviously it comes down to the last 2, and you have to escape the cage. I like that idea, just because I think it's kind of a cool concept, and you can have like a lot of cool stuff. Obviously, they would have to change it around a little, obviously, because it's kind of ripping off Impact, and Impact is still a Finn, and they're literally about to do an Ultimate X match at their TNA anniversary show.
Yeah.
And it's really tough because maybe like they could do like maybe not necessarily calling it Dixieland, but do that gimmick where they had like they had the steel cage and you have to like escape the cage and climb the ladder on the ramp. Because I feel like a lot of the cruiserweights could take doing those types of dives. But because that's the tough thing. You don't want to seem like a copy at Impact. So,
No.
but I wouldn't mind that though. It gives the cruiserweight division some importance, and it's I think it's a cool concept. But the question is what do you want to kind of do? Because you have to make it kind of that it is your own thing. So.
Well, Triple H can pull off War Games from WCW by simply removing the roof and literally doing 3 teams of 3 or the classic 4-on-4 standard. I feel like at this point, Triple H can pull off anything. Even with the ultimate ego in the business under Vince, Triple H is still somewhat manageable and has a conscience. And I will say this in closing. Because Paul Heyman is in creative control, if you can call it that, of Monday Night Raw, I will say this from highlights I've watched, I do find Raw more worthwhile than SmackDown, and I thought I would not say that. But with that being said, as far as 205 Live goes, the options are endless at this point and wide open more than ever, and we'll really have to see how they set up the Cruiserweight match for TakeOver or, dare I say it, WrestleMania. And hopefully it will not be on the kickoff show because, well, I haven't said it for a while, but it still stands. Because 205 Live matters, and it does not belong on the fucking kickoff show.
Well, except NXT, I'm okay with it being on the kickoff show because NXT treats their kickoff shows like they matter. So I don't have that as much of an issue with that.
The only thing they need to do
look at World Collide, though.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing they need to do,
there.
and it was the second match, and that really surprised me, and I love that, and that tells me how much they do care about the Cruiserweight title, and they want to elevate it more. Now, will they ever push it to the main event spot? Not as long as you have a champion like Adam Cole, baby. I'm just going to say that. But with that being said, I also will conclude with this. Get your damn lining equipment out of the way of the entranceway when the freaking wrestlers come out on the NXT pre-show. That's stupid. But I digress. Anyway, with that being said, I think that's a good way to close this edition of 205 Live Matters. So thank you, of course, gentlemen, and thank everybody who tuned in. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Would love to get your thoughts, your opinions, anything you want to bring up as far as Cruiserweight Wrestling, Then Now Forever, or 205 Live, NXT, NXT UK, etc. With that being said, Owen, it's been a while. I'm looking forward to doing this again and working with you more. Now that we've seen we got our schedules kind of in order and we kind of got a day down to do this. Except for next week, Sunday night. They'll probably be Saturday. We're going to alternate between Saturday and Sundays, but we're going to try and keep this thing going forward weekly. And we'll see if we can keep Owen and other people circulating. If nothing else, you always get us the simple holiday. But with that being said, Owen, thank you again. Anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
So you can find me on my 3 YouTube channels, first being Wrestling Fortune 44. I am so sorry the rundowns and such aren't out yet. We did record them. They're going to be very dated stuff. Just because James edits the rundown, and apparently his new college schedule, obviously, as you know, Noah, is hectic, and like he's still trying to manage it. So he said he's going to try to get the rundowns up as soon as possible.
Okay.
I believe the most recent rundown, we're trying a new format pretty much, with not going into as much detail with reviewing the shows because, as you know, Noah, we review just on the rundown like 10 wrestling shows in a row. That's a lot of
If that. I mean, I used to do a podcast called Some Man's Random Wrestling as a cheap little pilot to try and review 15 shows a week in less than 30 minutes. That was overkill.
So we tried a new format on the most recent one you're going to see. So I would like your thoughts on what that's like. Then obviously you have my non-wrestling channel on the Talkinator, and then my just other channels, CM Brothers. You can check all that stuff out and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video on those channels, you'll get the notifications on your devices. So there you go.
Yeah, I gotta get that bell going with these YouTube algorithms and trying to shut down channels and all that type of jazz and blah blah blah. Freaking monetization business. I digress. Anyway, Chris Mace, always a pleasure. Thank you, Owen, by the way. Chris Mace, always a pleasure, sir. Anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
Well, first off, Bear, sorry about the cat. If you hear the cat in the background, the cat's kind of in heat right now, so it's kind of aggravating. But it's all good. Other than that, if you heard the cat, I'm sorry, y'all. Bear with the cat, folks. I'm sorry. I have cat. Well, the cat's right there, and it's meowing at me like, I understand. Please go. So, with that being said, folks, now that I had that little comedy for a second, y'all can follow me on my YouTube channel, The Holiday Christopher Mace. I'm humbled. I have 390 subscribers. Very humbled and honored by that. We have a new me and Mark Reviews. We did a joint collaboration. We have an interview with former NWA referee Jeff Capo. That was very humbling. He will actually be joining us for the next edition for the NWA Power Review, along with good brother Chris. So that's really exciting to have a former referee actually reviewing NWA Power Show. That's very awesome. So stay tuned for that Tuesday night. Also have an interview set up with former No DQ personality. You might know her as Jexy. She will be setting up an interview here soon. So we're going to talk about her career and independence and her journey. So I can't wait to do that one. And just like I said, just a lot of basic, little quick information stuff, folks. And if you haven't seen Ring of Honor Free Enterprise yet, don't go to my channel then, because back you'll be spoiled about some stuff. So just watch the show, then go to some of the videos and comments that Mark Reviews is a big part of the Ring of Honor wing, as Noah said. So that's awesome. Check his stuff out. He's got a lot of stuff about Free Enterprise. And pretty much, like I said, you follow me Facebook, Christopher Mace, Twitter, Christopher Mace, Instagram, Christopher Mace. Support every member of the NXT team. Go to my wrestling content list on my YouTube channel. All the newest episodes of everybody's shows there. Definitely check out NXT party from just the other day. You can watch Jerry get chopped 3 times. That was fun to watch that being recorded. Awesome time. And support NoDQ.com.
Yeah, simple as that. Well, thank you. And hey, tell Jexy I said hello, and I'll see you in Chaos Toledo. Supporting Impact Wrestling, folks. I can't wait for Chaos Wrestling to kick off. Me and Anna might work on like a pre-show for that, but we'll see. But anyway, if you want to know more about me as I just randomly banter, and I am extremely tired, know this. If I don't botch it, I'm just a simple man. I got it. I'm still awake and a lifelong fan of, if you haven't figured out by now, who are you and why are you watching me? I am simply a lifelong fan of wrestling. And yes, Steph, the next time I do predictions with you, I will simply say wrestling. I will keep it simple. But anyway, if you want to follow me and talk anything wrestling, the 5 brands of WWE, or Ring of Honor, NWA, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, that's my number 1, Stardom, Pro Wrestling Noah, Impact Wrestling, and of course Impact Wrestling in general, and more, and support Impact Wrestling, folks, because that's where it all starts. And it's bigger and better than ever, not shrinking, quit worrying. Look me up on Twitter, NoDQ.com/Noah. It takes you to my Twitter page. I'm just the simple man of NoDQ. Or follow me on Instagram, #SimpleManInLife, @MFoster1916. I'll give you a nice hello, some good quotes to help you through the rough times, or hard times, as I should say. And, of course, my thoughts, outlooks, excitement in all things wrestling. And criticisms, too. Monday Night Raw. But anyway... Also, you can follow my Facebook group, #205LIVEMATTERS. I haven't been very proactive in it. My apologies to all the great members that have supported me and been part of this great community that I built. I know there's also a couple more new ones, so I will make an announcement tomorrow morning. That is a guarantee. But we talk all things cruiserweight wrestling, and we're just a fun, simple little community that enjoys wrestling. So join us, #205LIVEMATTERS Facebook group. Also follow my simple YouTube channel here, youtube.com/user/Noah Foster 210. It's nothing but wrestling, simple as that. Predictions, recaps, reviews, specials, one-offs, you name it, it's primarily wrestling. I unfortunately don't have the time or the resource or connection to do interviews, so please follow Chris Mace's channel and Mark Reviews. They do great stuff with that and more. But every time this week, you will always get #205Matters and new content every week. After this, I will be recording my simple take on New Japan Pro Wrestling, the new beginning in Osaka, as well as giving my outlook on the upcoming events in February, and what I hope to see in March, not only from the anniversary show, but also the New Japan Cup. And yes, Team NXT will be back to give you our bracketology, and we're going to do top 4 picks to pick the New Japan Cup. It's going to be wilder than ever, without a doubt. But also, if you haven't figured out by now, as Chris Mace alluded to, support No DQ. They're the reason I got into YouTube. Forever indebted to the No DQ family. Thank you, Aaron Riff and company. So buy a shirt, buy a mug, buy a tapestry, buy a pillow, buy a sticker. Just do it. NoDQ.com/merch takes you to the store, or follow them on all social media platforms, because your opinions matter, and there's a comments and everything on the official website. Polls, columns, memes, gifts, reviews, recaps, sexy female pics. You name it, it's there. Primarily WWE with a little bit of AEW and independent wrestling. Potential projects I might be working on coming up on my channel might be an AEW Dark weekly review, independent wrestling preview showcase for my independent promotion in Toledo, right here in Toledo, Ohio, for Extreme Chaos Wrestling, excuse me. Hi, Adam. And other stuff as well. And as, where I forget, TakeOver's coming this week, so stay tuned for me being part of the NXT team and these gentlemen as well. We'll be giving our predictions on NXT TakeOver Portland, probably the biggest TakeOver to date. It'll be taking place on a Sunday night. That's right, a Sunday night. So that's going to be something really special. And yes, we will be doing predictions on the show in country redacted. So stay tuned for that. And as always, as I like to close, and good on you, Owen, support your wrestling outlets with big and small, and let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, 100% unapologetic wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, we are done here for this episode of 205 Live Matters. Thank you again for all who tune in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Hit that bell to know when the next video is going to go live on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Help me grow my little community here. And please subscribe to all my friends. We're just good, simple folk that enjoy wrestling and all have our own takes. Vlogs, reviews, interviews, rundowns, discussions, you name it. It's there. It's wrestling. Simple as that. But until next time, for the Talkinator and the Berman of Boston, Owen Finch, and for the holiday, Christopher Mace, I'm just a simple man of no DQ. And I hope, as always, you all take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Enjoy wrestling. There's more options out there than ever before. Find what connects to you. Or not. I'm not going to judge you. But until next time, as always, I hope you all have a good night.
Have a good night, folks.
Have a great night.
And remember, as always, whether it's 10, 1, 5, 15, or 30, I don't give a damn, because it still is true, at least to me and these people here. I will until the day I can't breathe or it no longer exists on TV or the network. We'll always stand by this. 205 Live matters. Always.
Indeed.
And Funaki will always be SmackDown's #1, but I do like Yamaguchi. All right, I'm done, folks. I'm going to probably pass out here in a moment. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.